Okay, welcome back to the next video. Today we will be further preparing the car for the turbo stuff, changing the washer bottle. There's a bunch of different solutions for this, some cheaper than others and some certainly better looking than others. I've opted for a nicer looking one since I also wanted to look neat. Besides that, I will be rebuilding the shifter and I don't know, we'll see what else. Let's get to it. Okay, we'll be removing that one. It's not only ugly, it's also in the way of where the turbo will go, which will be somewhere there. And even if it wasn't, it would likely melt. So to replace that, I got myself a Dave Fab one. Nice black aluminium. So we'll be installing that. To further kind of modernize the car, I also have these Mazda Tribute washer jets. We'll see if I like them. I'll show you the before and after later on in the video. Okay, I've removed the brace over here. I'm not sure if it's really needed, but making my job a little easier. There seem to be two bolts holding this bottle on. So let's get them out. Yeah, nice. So I have to reuse the pump. Let's see. The kit comes with additional hoses to reroute this, since it's a UK made product. And on the UK spec cars, the stuff is mirrored. I don't think I will really need it, but we'll find out. Okay, that's the pump. I'll put this to the side. Alright, so I'm pretty sure we have to transfer this rubber grommet. And the pump itself. Okay, quick test fit. Seems it mounts over here on the fender and right back over here. Looks like I need to take that bolt out and replace it with one of the ones in the kit and a nut on the other side. I can remove this bracket, it's now useless. Same with this one, so I'll do that right now. There we go. Just put that back. Alright, everything in place. No bolt here. No bolt here. Nut on the back. It is very solid. I swapped over these hoses. This one was shorter, so all good. Only thing left is the plug. there does not seem to be any way for me to push this plug through, so I guess I have no choice but to cut it off and put it back together on the other side. Right, I prepared all the wires. I ran it through the original grommet for the fluid. Okay, wiring all back together. I already tested it and it's working, so can put everything in place and job's done. Okay, everything back together, tidied up the place, made some space, everything working okay. So no comparison with the old ones. It's just two jets, very typical for all cars of this era. This is more like a fan spray, so I'll put them in and then can properly compare. Alright, next up the washers. I took out one already. They are right over here. They are just clipped in. With this push connection. And they come out like that. Alright, next up, shifter. As already visible in one of the earlier videos, this one is completely destroyed and you can see the ground below there. Instead of just replacing this and being done with it, I will make sure all of it is good. I didn't originally plan to rebuild the shifter because the previous owner said he had already done this. Well, either he did a half-assed job or it has been done a long time ago, because the lower one is also cracked, as we'll see in a little bit. So yeah, I'm just going to replace everything, and instead of simply replacing bits, I will also upgrade them. I have a better version of this and a bronze bushing for the bottom, so let's get to it. I think these ones are also supposed to be 10mm ones normally, so I guess the previous owner has exchanged them for these hex versions instead. Unsure why, but whatever. I have the tools, it's not a problem. Right. Well, as visible here, it is also kind of falling apart, so I'll just replace all of it. Here's the lower bushing. It is I think it's a hard nylon. We will upgrade this with a bronze one. The shifter is not sloppy, so I guess the other bits are fine, but like I said, might as well just do all of it and not do a half-assed job. So yeah. Okay, off camera I gave it a bit of a cleanup. Since this is a 6-speed gearbox, there's no oil in here, and there's two of these pins. To get this one out, I have to push one in. So got myself some water pump pliers here. I hope that'll do the trick. I put some tape on it to try to avoid damaging all the stuff, as it is all aluminium, so it's pretty soft. Yeah, let's give it a try. Now the one over here appears very stuck, and this one over here seems to be not pushed in all the way, so I'm hoping the previous owner used that one. It's still stuck anyway. I'm going to try and use a punch and a hammer, see if that'll get me anywhere. There we go. Okay, that did the trick. Now this can come out, as well as the I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a metal washer underneath this one, but it doesn't look like there is. So I guess the previous owner forgot to put it in place. Right, next up, the shifter portion. This one comes off super easily. I don't think it's supposed to come off that easy, but okay. Next up, these three. There's no way to get this off in either direction, so I'm going to have to cut it, and then we can take off the washer and this other piece over here. Okay, clean it up. Here are all the new pieces. Time to reassemble. Here's the new pivot bushing. It's bronze instead of nylon, so this shouldn't wear. And it's supposed to make the shifts nice and crispy. So we'll see if that's accurate. I think it's just a press on, similar like the nylon one, but it'll probably be a bit harder to do. So I got some grease on it, and oh, actually that was very easy. Okay, well, next up we have the ring with a wavy washer that goes on here, and the lower boot comes with a new gasket and everything. It needs to slide over here, which will probably be a pain in the ass, so let's grease it up and hope for the best. There we go. That's that portion done. Now we can focus our attention over here. So first it's this washer. That wasn't there previously. And then we have this plastic one, like that. So, and now I will have to push back this pin so everything stays in place. There we go. Pushing it in certainly was a lot easier than getting it out. Okay. And then now we can drop in our shifter. Let's add some grease to the ball as well. Now we can drop this back in. Before we put on the upper boot and all that, let's quickly check the work. Yeah, feels solid, very nice. Now to finish off this repair, I guess let's call it, I have a stronger YUS Performance upper boot. So we'll be putting that on. According to their description, this should last much longer than the factory original. So I hope that is the case. It certainly also looks nicer, but that doesn't really matter since we'll be covering it up anyway. A bit of a shame, I suppose, but I'm not running a console delete or anything like that, and I have no intention of doing that. So, yeah, oh well. Let's get these in. Now, as was also shown in the earlier video, this piece, or what was left of it anyway, was there. I got myself a new one. It should, I think, go over it like that. And this one was completely missing, which I believe goes around it. And that should help reduce the noise and heat coming from the tunnel. So yeah, now the center console can go back on and job done. So another seemingly common problem on these cars, and I guess the previous generation as well, since they use the same things, are these latches, where this one especially no longer is fully latching correctly, and it seems to have to do with these like switches, I guess, where the I think it's metal is kind of shaved off and no longer connects properly. This one's still fine. Normally you can't undo it just by pulling it. You have to push this in so it can then be undone. But on this side it just pulls off. I had it happen already once while I was driving, where this came undone, and it gets really loud and scares the crap out of you. So fortunately there's some fix for that with some aftermarket parts, of course. So I'll take them off and try and fix them. The other day I also noticed that this one for some reason is kind of loose. So before we take off the latches, let's fix that first. There we go, solved. Okay, let's take off the latches and get them fixed. Should be, I think, 3 screws on the sides, and I think then it just comes off. Okay, I brought the latches inside. This is what I got to hopefully fix them. It's pretty much the same stuff from what I can tell that you can buy from a place like Flying Miata, except with a different icon, and it's a lot cheaper for me to get because buying stuff from the US is super expensive, at least shipping wise, so hopefully it's good. The latches themselves do have some adjustment using this thing right here. I tried doing that in the car and it didn't make any sort of difference. So I really hope that changing this will solve the problem. I am using Flying Miata's video to replace these. Didn't seem too hard. I'll put it up somewhere here or down in the description. Let's get to it. Okay, there's a little clip that needs to be taken off. There's no doubt of, oh, no, it did not fly off. They do give you new ones, so even if it does, that's okay. Let me push this pin out of here. That should release, yes, the latch and the spring. Okay, that was easy enough. Now, as I understand, you're supposed to set this in here, and this is adjustable, so you can change how aggressive it latches on. I'll make it in all the way first and then see how we go from there. It's a little far. Okay, this is pretty fiddly. Maybe like that. Yeah, that should do. Okay. Now the pin needs to go back in. Okay, well, that was easy enough. Clip goes back on. There we go. And this was the one what was broken, and already it no longer just opens by itself. So nice, problem solved. Now to do the other one. It's not broken, but might as well replace it, so it will be good to go for a long time. Plus, can have unequal looking pieces now, can we? Okay, both latches completed. The Flying Miata video did mention adding some thread locker, so I did. In their video they also replace these. I'm not entirely sure what they do. They look okay and they don't seem to cause any problems, and I don't have any new ones right now, so I've left them. Both of the latches are now stuck, and you need to open them using the latch here. So yeah, problem solved. Let's put them back in the car. So that's just back installed. It no longer opens like that. You have to use this. So problem solved, and it will no longer fly off. So let's round off this video by making it a properly official YouTuber car with my own sticker. I'll put it on the glass right here. So well, there's some air bubbles, tiny ones, so it's not perfect, but that looks pretty good to me. Okay, let's round off this video. We cleaned up the engine bay, made some space, and rerouted the washer bottle to the window wiper area with something what looks nice and well, functions as normal. The washer jets are now a bit more modernized. I like them. They don't really block the view as much as you use them, as it is such a fanned out spray. The latches are now no more hazardous while you're driving, and well, we made the car a official deal with a nice little sticker. The orange right now is a bit out of place, but well, there will be more stuff going orange in the future, so that'll work out. Should be okay. The shifter is also rebuilt and should last for a long time, I hope. Now we can move on to new stuff. See you in the next video.